Alright, so this is my presentation for Chapter 6, Encouraging Positive Interactions. So first talking about social behaviour in schools. So behaviour can be considered unproductive when it's exhibited at the wrong place, time, to the wrong people and the degree. And you would be analysing this through the functional behaviour assessment process, with the intent to find out is this misbehaviour to get something, so classmate praise, for example, or to avoid something, so attempting a task that they think they could fail at, as an example, or communicate something that aggressive interactions will meet their needs, for example. Yeah, and it was found that the greatest issues of teaching students with additional needs are time to work with and supervise them, disrupting or interrupting classmate work, not being able to keep up with this classwork, and then behaviour management. And it's really imperative to address these issues for a more inclusive classroom. Yeah, so students will have minimal incentive to learn if the curriculum content is well above their current ability level, which will incite the failure cycle where the inability to learn is followed by misbehaviour, which leads to repeated failure to learn and then increased behavioural issues, which can then be remedied by assessing their individual academic and behaviour needs. Yeah, and for children with additional needs, their frustration level is often peaked if there is no adaptation of tasks to meet their instructional needs. So the three components of social inclusion are how the school community views mainstreamed students, understanding individual diversity and disability, as well as the verbal, non-verbal and physical peer interactions. So in terms of integrating behaviour and academic skills, classrooms are a learning teaching environment where both the students and the teachers will be learning from each other. It's not just linear in that the teacher teaches the student. So to challenge misbehaviour, teachers can consider if they can change their own behaviour, so things that they actually have a lot more control over. Teach it to have a positive impact, analyse the physical classroom environment, and use the curriculum content to embed social skills. So, for example, deliberately program small group work. And in order to maximise academically engaged time, students really need to be actively engaged in their learning rather than passively sitting and cooperating. Lesson planning really needs to be thorough with a clear management plan for all students. And teachers can also increase social acceptance of special needs by adapting instructional methods to help students learn to cope with anxiety, so fear of rejection or failure, develop self-worth, ask for help and follow teacher directions, and develop good work habits. So in terms of managing disruptive behaviours, teachers can really manage those behaviours by considering if the misbehaviour is a result of inappropriate curriculum, teaching strategies, students' inability to understand lesson concepts, the student's disability, or student-teacher interactions. So this would be considering if you can control the causes of misbehaviour, if the misbehaviour is classroom-based, how to teach students to self-monitor behaviour, appropriate control methods which respect the rights of students with disability, and if it's punishable, if any punishment is appropriate and paired with reinforcement of positive behaviours. So low-level responses can include I statements, Moderate misbehaviour can be responded to with reminders of consequences or rules. Repeated misbehaviour can be responded to with assessment of the motive. Before the misbehaviour, try to model positive behaviours and provide effective learning activities. And in order for a behaviour management plan to be effective, students must want to change their behaviour and be actively involved in the context, in the process, So in terms of the steps of the FBA, so the functional behaviour assessment, you need to identify the problem behaviour, succinctly define the misbehaviour, collect data on the motive, analyse any potential triggers, create a hypothesis of the motive, test this hypothesis, develop long and short-term goals, monitor the accuracy and consistency, evaluate the effectiveness, and then modify the plan accordingly. So with inclusive behaviour management requires explicit rules, clear boundaries, classroom routines, teaching thinking and planning skills, adapting the workload, making learning purposeful, and ensuring that all students view themselves as contributing members. So you can prevent behaviour escalation by recognising triggers, reinforcing calm on task behaviour, identify anything unusual or any potential triggers with their behaviour, intervene early, understand the motives behind the misbehaviour, and teach students positive behaviours to replace the negative ones, and also teach them academic survival skills. So in terms of how to teach social skills, so we've got these different types of social skills being interpersonal, peer-related, teacher-pleasing, self-related, assertiveness skills, and communication skills. So in order to teach this to them, you need to explain the skill, model it, guide them to implement the skill, observe them practicing the skill, instruct them to practice the skill in various contexts. So you can also encourage peer acceptance through inclusive activities. So you can provide multiple opportunities for social interaction, such as cooperative learning activities, peer tutoring, peer buddies, friendship activities, student mentoring. Also a cognitive approach where students follow specified steps, or a metacognitive approach where students create their own plan individually. You can also design group activities which promote social competence, teach social skills according to their needs. I also think it's really important to involve parents in the process because they have the strongest relationship with their child. Children learn the most from their home environment. Their involvement impacts their child's perspective towards learning, and parent involvement means more open accountability. Parent-teacher communication can be facilitated by parent-teacher meetings, brief notes at home, phone calls, and encouraging them to visit the class. So in summary, this chapter focuses on creating an inclusive mainstream classroom. Developing social skills is really imperative to this process. So social skills can be developed by behaviour management plans, cooperative learning methods, cognitive and metacognitive strategies, social skills programs, and friendship or peer support programs. Social skills are really a two-way process. Development should not only focus on the student with special needs, but the teacher, peers, and the whole school. Thank you.